Well, good morning. It's a chilly one. Computer says 38 degrees. It's gonna be kind of a nice one though. I think we got one more day like this and then the rain's coming back for a week. It'd be really cool if I could get their shims on them. I don't know if I will or not. Maybe after the rain. But here's what I've got going, and this one's kind of for some feedback. So I'll be right with you. Okay, so here we have my prototype of my feeding shim. Open this up. We've got the vents stuffed with stuffing. We've got the front vents taped over, mostly so that we don't get any rain or anything in them. Let's see if I can take this off with one hand. Okay, then we have, now all of this is just representation. We've got our lid that has a double to a triple layer of Reflectex or equivalent stapled to it. And then here's what I've done here. Okay, so our brown paper represents sugar, and then that represents our opening shaft in the center to let the excess moisture up onto our Reflectex to come forward. Now, I don't remember if it was last night or the night before on chat, I was mentioning that it was, a 4-inch feeding shim, and I don't remember who it was, but 4 inches. And so the explanation to that, or the visual explanation, is I have a 2-inch feeding shim that I've lined with 1x4s, which are actually 3/4 by 3 3/4 or thereabouts, on the inside, to give me basically a double walled shim. And then I have small vents in the front and small vents in the back. Now the vents in the box are closed down or mostly closed down. But then we have our sugar, and what I had thought of originally, I'd thought about using my inner covers below to catch excess and that sort of thing, but after some input from people, that's probably not a good idea. But I come up with this, and now it's a pretty cheap burlap. You can kind of see it. And I thought about maybe along the outsides or something, doubling up, or maybe using some of this. But I've seen videos where honeybees had sugar directly above their head, above the paper, and they didn't chew through the paper above them. And the thing I was thinking was something like this, and I tried it out with burlap last year with my bricks, is when that humidity or that moisture come up, it hits the bottom of that sugar, and that sugar absorbs it, and it kind of seeps or a little bit down into the burlap. So even where they're not up in it, they're still able to get to it. And it kind of seemed to work really good with that secondhand sugar, that scrap sugar, because it was a bit finer ground, and it would kind of make like a cold fondant almost. But this is what I'm thinking. And then that way they'll have direct access to it, anywhere pretty much. And then they'll have the channel through the center to come up and get I guess more direct access. Now I've got some more of the burlap, and I had contemplated putting burlap over the top of it, you know, a couple layers over the top. But if I do that, I'd actually think I'd like some heavier stuff. The other thing I thought was, if the bees want to, you know, they can chew through that, you know, or, you know, shimmy shake, whatever. But that's the plan. So I'm kind of wanting some input, or not, well, you know, opinions on what people think of that. They think, you know, I haven't done a full sugar, you know, shim or whatever, except for a hard sugar shim, and I don't want it to be a hard sugar. But I think that, you know, with that, you know, we've got the sugar, the food, the little bit of insulation that they get from that. You know, it's only a few points, but you know, that's no big deal. And then with that up there, and allowing my excess moisture to come up and then disperse out and come down on top of the sugar. At least that's the thought. We're gonna find out if it works this year. But that's the material I was thinking of. Because I kind of like, but that means I've got to have a little bit more moisture in my sugar, I'm thinking, when I go to put it in there. More of a wet snowball, maybe. So between that and the shelters, you know, little bit, it all adds up. And then the air that they do draw, you know, any that they pull from the, you know, it'll be primarily coming from above them, which is a few degrees warmer air. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but with more rain and more cold coming, I think I want to get the winter food on them. Mostly I gotta start contending with more wet than I am now, and I'm already seeing water running out of hives. A fair bit of it too. Not too big a deal right now, but when it starts freezing and melting and freezing and melting, man, my bees don't need an ice rink. Don't need an ice rink on their landing boards, or not on the landing boards, on their bottom boards. Man, I really like how these work. Ah, this is so slick now. I love it. You like it? I like it. It works cool, and it's nice and easy. Nice and easy. We like nice and easy. There's a whole lot of not easy in beekeeping, so we like the nice and easy parts. Plus, something too, when I put those shims on, it'll raise my vent, you know, these up a little bit too, so there'll be less chance of them getting rain in there. And with the lip on it, it'll kind of slot down in, so it'll hopefully give them a little more. Plus I could run a bead of tape across there if I needed to or wanted to. Seeing more. That's an old bee. Some of it you can tell, but so far this is the one with my most drop already. Yeah, those are old bees. Just not used to seeing them doing it with the hey, honeybee got me. Pupa or pup? I don't know what they're called. I can't remember. They're not. I don't know, maybe it is still a larva. I don't know. When they got no hair and all of that, and they're just a base. Yeah, see. Now she's drinking it and stuff, but that's just the beginnings of it. Right here, water. Lots of water. My hives make water. My bees make water. My air makes water. Too much water. Honeybee's waking up. She's washboarding. It looks like she's got a little bit of propolis or something on her back legs. I don't know if the camera can see the different color on her inside of her leg. There's a little bit of brown. That's cool. But yeah, some of my hives are starting to make water. Oh. Yeah, the mat I put in that had the wicking side so that it would wick it down and away. Because I put a pig bran absorbent mat between their screen, or their bottom screen, and the what is it called? Coroplast, I think it's called. I don't know. That made a bunch of them. Snowberries. I'm gonna collect them and throw them all over. I'm gonna bring I've got a couple of elderberries that survived from last year's starts, and I'm gonna bring them down and put them in here because the animals don't really care about the elderberry plants. Because the rabbits ate everything I put here. Kind of sucked. But they don't care about the elderberry. And these ones are like 2 feet tall, so. But yeah, I just need a little what people think. It's kind of a culmination of lots of stuff I see on videos. And I've kind of just threaded it all together into a tapestry. Here, I'll show you what happens in my hives when there's too much wet. Now these I was curious. A lot of these had pollen and stuff in it, and I was curious if, I mean, they're just old frames anyways, I'm gonna scrape the wax, but I was curious if the rain and stuff would break up the pollen. I don't know if it did or not. But here's a good example. Not with the water, but that's what my hives look like when there's too much wet in them. That's what my hives look like when there's too much wet in them. If you replace the water that's in those cells with fermented honey, that's what happens. I was real happy that Brad at Faith Apiaries kind of described the I don't know what you call it, but the whole temperature process and how it affects and what it does and all of that, and it kind of explained to people the technical ways, or much better ways than I'm able to, what I kind of go through here, because that mid-range that he was talking about that's not good for bees, that's where I live. But yeah, I'll scrape all those out and stuff, but yeah, that's what my hives look like if I seal them up. I had good strong hives my first year, and their honey all went fermenting on them, and it did stuff like that. And then they got wet, and then they got cold, and then they got wetter, and then they got colder and wetter. It wasn't fun, but I tried to learn from it. I'm hoping this fixes it. Yeah, see, we got water right here. I know that's not much, but winter ain't even started yet. I do have 2 or 3 that are already making it. But I'm thinking more and more that the little bits and pieces is just everybody cleaning house, because I'm starting to see it on the Carney and the Caucasians too. I should paint my plastic. Paint squiggles. Squiggles? Squiggles? Squiggles. Squiggle lines. Well, I've got some feeding shims to build. You all have a blessed day. Bye.